Hi, this is Matthew. I'm going to talk about the next Chicago album from 1978, Chicago, what's called Hot Streets, but I'm going to call it Chicago 12 also, just to keep it numbered. It's not technically numbered, but it is the 12th actual album, so I'm going to call it 12 when I do the naming of the video and stuff. I'm going to call it 12 still, with the other title next to it. And they decided to not do a title now, since we have a new singer in Donnie Dacus, who replaced Terry Kath, who, of course, we talked about last time, had died of the accidental shooting himself. Of course, they were very shocked, of course. They almost broke up. They decided not to. Other bands had, like Led Zeppelin, for example. But bands like AC/DC did not break up when their lead singer died. So they're on the hey, let's just try to keep going and see what happens. And it sounds really good. You wouldn't know, it still did pretty well. It got to number 12 on Billboard. Not top 10, but number 12. How funny is that? But it did. Yeah, I still enjoyed it. One big single in Alive Again. No Tell Lover, I know too. There's one other one I didn't recognize. And there are a couple. There's a Bee Gees guy on this album. They go on and play on a couple of tracks for them. He plays on a couple of tracks for Chicago. Well, the horns go off and play. They go on Too Much Heaven and Tragedy is where they are. If you want to get Spirits Having Flown, which they were recording, they are on those two tracks on that. And he is on a couple here, which we'll get into. Well, they're their keyboardist. A very good keyboardist, in my opinion. On the synthesizers and things. And of course, we did it with their manager, or producer guy of 11 albums. He's gone. And they went to Miami and New York, and I think it was Miami, I think. Or it was Miami and LA. That's somewhere in there. So no more Caribou Studios for Chicago. Off to a few other locations, and probably different musicians perhaps on this one. We'll see here. We'll look at their tracks and everything. See who wrote and sang on them. I know Donnie Dacus is definitely on a few, and we got a few other new people. Robert Lamb isn't very common. Peter Cetera's a little bit. We'll see here. We start out with Alive Again, the big hit there, written by James Pankow, actually. At least Pankow wrote it. And Peter Cetera sings it. The Greatest Love on Earth. There are some, the Bee Gees do come, from the Bee Gees, the Gibbs, of course, brothers go and do some vocals on the track too, which we'll find hopefully in their personnel. The Greatest Love on Earth, written by Danny Serafin and Darren Hunk Lewinsky again. Peter Cetera on vocals. And then we have Little Miss Lovin' is Peter Cetera, wrote it with Peter Cetera featuring the Bee Gees. So if you want to hear track 3, I didn't remember them being there, but I'm going to have to go play that track again. I did not. How could I not hear those guys? They're everywhere. But they are on here. If you want to hear track 3, definitely. Hot Street is next. Robert Lamb wrote it, and he sings on that one. I knew that. Then we go to Take a Chance, written by Lee Lemaine and Lawrence Wagner, or Lawrence Stash Wagner. Donnie Dacus, here he is, sings his first vocal here, at least on the album. I'm not sure what was first recorded, but it's the first album that we see him on this album. And then we jump to side 2 then, and we have Long Gone. That was the other single that I don't recognize. Peter Cetera wrote it, and he does sing it. Ain't It Time is next, written by Dacus and Serafin, and that Warner Schwebke. I wrote that one. Donnie Dacus and Peter Cetera sing this one. Love Is New, written by Robert Lamb, and he sings it. No Tell Lover is the other one that I didn't recognize. Peter Lemaine. Lee Lorraine, Danny Serafin, and Peter Cetera all wrote that one. He sings it with Donnie Dacus. And then our last actual track, Show Me the Way, written by Serafina Lewinsky, with vocals by Lamb, over Lamb. 03 bonus track is going to follow. It is a version of Love Is New alternate vocal with Robert Lamb on it instead of I think Donnie Dacus. Sorry. Donnie Dacus on vocals instead of I think Lamb. So you have an extra one there. So there you go. Our personnel this time, of course, we've got Pierce Cetera, bass, lead, and backing vocals. Donnie Dacus, guitars, lead, and backing vocals. He'll be on the next album. That will be it after that for him, unfortunately. He does a good job. Pretty good guitarist in his own right. Not as good as Kath, but a nice, solid guitarist and vocalist. Much higher range than Kath had. Kind of equal to Cetera, honestly. Sounds pretty good together when there's some harmonies with the two of them. A lot of Rivera is, of course, percussion. Robert Lamb keyboards and backing vocals. Lila Main trumpet and backing vocals, brass arrangements. James Paco trombone, brass arrangements. Of course. Walter Perezader on woodwinds. Dennis Serafine on drums. Additional people are. Here he is. Lou Weaver, Arp on string ensemble. Not to Deliver and Show Me the Way. That's the Bee Gees guitarist. Keyboardist guy. With the Bee Gees. David Huck, Lewinsky, Fitter, Rhodes on Show Me the Way. Bee Gees on backing vocals again on Little Miss Lovin', track 3, so go check that out. I don't remember hearing them, but I heard the whole thing. They must have been buried in some vocals. I'll have to go check them out, listen again. Production people now. They got Phil Ramone to come in and help produce with, of course, and Chicago are credited, so Phil Ramone came in to help with this one. Associate producer is Carol Peters, who I've not seen before. Engineered by Jim Boyer, Don Jim, and Lee DiCarlo. Again, new people we have not seen yet. Assistant engineers, Peter Lewis, Dave Martin, and Kevin Ryan. Mixed by Jim Boyer and Phil Ramone. Mastered by Ted Jensen, Livingston in New York. Photography and design, Norman Seath, I believe. Logo, Nick Frascino again. He's the only one I think that's the same. And they don't have the logo on this one. On 13 they do. It's on a skyscraper. So if you've ever gotten that album, go check out the skyscraper logo on it. But no logo of the band here. I think it just shows the band. Tried a different approach, but they went back to the other one, as we'll find out next time in 79. Yeah, you can get the Bee Gees on Chicago, and Chicago horns go into Spirits Having Flown. I didn't realize. There's so much going on in those tracks, you don't really hear the horns that well. Yeah, how cool is that? You get nice when you're all in the same studio. But hey, can you come over here? Oh, can you come over here? So you can see what each other's doing. You can swap people if you get along with each other. So they appeared to have done that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think very solid album. Still sounds good. Still sounds like them. Still rocks some with Donnie Dacus even. Not the same, of course, but it was a good first try with a new person helping with the band there and a new member. But we'll go next time to 79 to Chicago 13, and I know one song there, Street Player, my favorite jazz trumpeter, which we'll get into later, is on it. I don't know much else. They did play Saturday Night Live that year, and the 5th season. And they do play that one. I forget what they play. One other track. I forget what it was. But they do play SNL that year, or that season. I think it's kind of in the middle, maybe closer to 80, but I'm not sure. But still going with that lineup and that album, which we'll get into next. With Chicago 13 and 79. And yeah, we'll see what goes on with it. That'll do it for this one now. I will see you guys next time in the next video.